Hello and welcome to another Outriders video with me, Hooch. I've just finished the game this morning, April 6th, so I know I'm a bit behind folk, but what with work, family life and other stuff, it takes me a bit longer to get things done. So I beat the story this morning. I hit level 30 at the same time, and I thought I'd share some info that in all honesty probably took me longer to work out or discover than it should have really. So first up is a little farming spot for XP, world tier and loot, and there are actually a couple of better spots later in the game, but the enemies are similar and the principle is the same, and I don't want to show the late game areas as it's not fair to spoil it. So we'll go with this early game area, and you'll recognise the other farming spots as you progress because you'll see the same enemies and you'll see the principles the same, like I said, so you'll be able to sort that out for yourselves and think this is a good farming spot once you got to grips with these basics. So first off, before we start, while you're in the lobby, one small tip, and this took me way too long to discover, is go to your menu, select auto loot to common, and instead of running over loot to pick it up, you can simply press down on the D-pad and it picks it all up. Even when playing co-op and someone shouts, "Oh, there's a chest here," if they open it, you can simply press down and collect the loot from where you stand instead of running over trying to find, where are you, okay, I'm coming to the chest, hang on. Just press down on the D-pad, boom, loot, straight in, no problem. Right, so after that little side note, let's go back to the farm. Right, so from the lobby, go to select story point, then first city, and finally choose the mission, reach the other side of the river, and then click on continue game. Now don't worry about losing your progress if you're further in the story and you're coming back to this. You can use the same method to go back to the point in the story you got to, so there's no worry about your progress getting overwritten. So basically we're going to farm these dog alien weird things. There's an absolute truckload of them, and you'll find that your XP and world tier XP will climb fairly quickly in this area, and you'll also get a few loot drops off all the enemies at the same time. Now I use this area when I wanted to grind out a couple of levels early on, when I wanted to improve my world tier, because it drops a little bit when you keep dying, and you know, sometimes you want to keep that topped up. For a bit of loot or materials, you know, when I thought my weapons were lacking, and also if you're like me, you get 30-minute windows sometimes when the wife's not around, but it's not really enough time to get stuck into the story. But there is enough time for 2 or 3 cheeky runs, farming through for a bit of XP or a bit of loot. So the premise is we're going to turn left and run around this area, gathering up all the dog things into a great big bunch, preferably on the highest world tier you can handle, which, if you play a bit like me, should be a bit higher than the story, as these enemies don't shoot back. So once you've gathered them all into a big herd, we unleash merry hell on them with all your abilities and weapons, which obviously the abilities will be different depending on what class you're playing, and they should all go down pretty quickly, netting you a big chunk of XP and hopefully some loot as well. So once all these dogs are dead, we need to clear the way to get through at the top of the steps. And when we cleared the way, you go through, and don't forget to pick up the ammo on the way through though, especially if you're using an auto shotgun, because you burn through that like stink. Now this second area is exactly the same process as the first area, but you've just got an added venom spitting monster or two. You gather them all up again into a big herd, lay waste to them, and then after you've done that, a boss should spawn, but he's pretty easy to rinse, and he'll drop a couple of items as well at the end. And then just before you finish, there's 2 harvesting nodes either side of the bridge controls. Gather them up if you want, and then once this is done, you simply quit to the lobby and restart the story point in the same place, and repeat if you find it necessary. So that's the little farming thing I was doing, and by using that in the odd half an hour here and there, I found that when I beat the final boss, I was at level 30 just as I killed him. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to show you is in the crafting menu. This took me too long to suss out as well, if I'm honest with you. I mean, these tips aren't for people that have finished the game. Obviously, they're for people that are just starting playing the game. Maybe you were like me and you tried to play over Easter and you couldn't get on because the game keeps crashing. Anyway, if they have fixed it by now, which I doubt they have, here's a couple of crafting tips. So first off, let's take, not stuff to go to equip because that will be fine. Let's take this helm, this headgear here. So we've got this headgear, and the first thing we've noticed is Geiger's Wave. Okay, so it's using a time rift mod, but we're not using time rift. We're using slow trap. So that's no good to us. Well, if you go to mod gear, you can then remove Geiger's Wave and put on any of the mods that you've stripped off. Okay, you can replace in slot 1 or slot 2 by using either A or X on Xbox, or that will be X and square on PlayStation. Wouldn't have a clue on PC. So you just slot that in, and as you can see, it only costs 160 leather. Now I've got 44,000 leather, and I've only done 4 expeditions at the end of the game. That's just playing through the game and doing a bit of farming. So as you can see, it's cheap as chips. You're not going to run out of leather. So you might as well just, every time you get, you're going to be replacing your gear so often, just swap those mods out so they do what you want them to do. It's help you so much rather than running around with better armor but helping abilities that you're not using. Also, I didn't realise this till right at the end, you're not limited, as I thought for ages, swapping in a tier 1 mod for a tier 1 slot. If I wanted to, I can go to tier 2 and I can place, let's say I wanted, let's find something after this. Whenever your health drops below 30%, burn is inflicted on enemies. You're playing as a pyromancer. That'd be quite a good one for that, because you heal if enemies are burning when you kill them. You can place that in slot 1, and you can have 2 tier 2 mods while you're killing folk. I mean, it really does seem to me that what they've done here is said, you know what, we're not going to limit you. If you want to be OP and you want to smash the place up, smash the place up. No, I haven't tried tier 3 because I've only got 1, but let's just have a look now. Can we put that tier 3 mod in? Yes, we can put the tier 3 mod in slot 1 if we want. So we could probably run around with 2 tier 3 mods. I mean, unbelievable. Now the next bit, as you can see on here, we can show you on this piece of armor. Can you see these? Oh, I'll put the cursor over it. 2 windows either side there, the 4 squares, like lead glazed windows. That means if you've got a piece of gear in your inventory, that you have already stripped that mod out, and that mod is in your library. So if you're going through all the loot like I haven't cleaned out for a while, I'll look through here, so I'll pick this one. There's no point in dismantling that one unless it's for materials, which I've got plenty of, because I've already got gun shield, so I might as well sell that for the scrap, which is the currency in the game. And let me see if I can find an example of, I probably can't unless I go to the inventory. And if I go to the inventory, I'm not, yes, there we go, got one, sound. Okay, now you see these 2 skills on these boots there, I've got those little red squares and they're highlighted in red. That means that if you equip that, you have already got the skill or the mod sharpening Venator's knife, and you've already got barrel roll equipped, and the mods don't stack. So it would be pointless putting those boots on without changing the mods, because you're already using both of those mods on your character. Right, next up, and this is really only a little tip, but did you know, because I didn't till after I finished the game, that you can swap shoulder by pressing down on the left thumbstick? I had no idea. So that's a little tip for poking around cover, or if you are right or left eye dominated. Who knew? Not me, that's for sure. So I thought I'd share that with you as well. Right, and finally the last tip I've got for you is status effects and anomaly power. So if you're fighting an elite, like a captain for instance, like this captain here, and you're hitting him with your anomaly power, you know, and your status effects like slow or bleed or toxic rounds or whatever it is you're using, you'll notice that here there's a white swirly icon. So while that white swirly icon is there, if he is using a power himself and you want to interrupt, interrupts will work and your status effects will work on the captain. But if you see here, as soon as it turns blue, that means he's now immune to your status effects. So it doesn't matter what you do, if he's casting a spell or an ability, whatever you want to call it, and you try and interrupt it, it will not work. Existing status effects will carry on, but any new slow or bleed or toxic rounds, anything like that that you apply after that are not going to work until that icon is white again. And if you notice, there is a yellow circle around it, and that circle is depleting. When that depletes, it turns white and you're okay to carry on, but until then it's bullets only. I'll probably do a whole video on status effects if anyone can stay awake through it, but we'll see what the response to this is, and if people want me to do it in the comments, then I'll crack on and get it done. So anyway, that's about it really. That's like I say, it's not a whole host of hints and tips. It's not really meant for people that have finished a game. It's meant for people that are just starting out, stuff that I wish I'd have worked out quicker than I did. If it's helped you in any way, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and until next time, ta-ra a bit.